I recognise the boot.
Certainly male.
Are you sure?
We're not too sure now.
Toughy, huh?
Hmm? Is it a cricketer?
It's not a snooker player. Steve Davis is leaning back, having retired from this one.
Bob Willis.
Bob Willis, interesting guess. Not right, so it goes across to the other side.
Brian Robson.
Is right. Brian Robson, most expensive footballer in Great Britain, £2 billion for Manchester United, and doing his stint in the boot room. So a bonus of 2 for your side there, Willie, and it's your turn. A visit to the countryside for you three. In fact, your mystery person is down on the farm.
Blonde hair. Blonde hair.
It's a bloke.
Steve
You think he's a rugby player? Go on.
Not a rugby player.
Steve Smith? No, Steve Smith is wrong. It goes to the other side for a possible recovery, 2 points.
I think he is a rugby player, and is it the England fullback, Dusty Hare?
Well, let's have a look.
Oh, I think you got it, Bill.
And it is the England fullback, Dusty Hare.
Bring back any memories, Billy. Probably bees me in Paris.
So that worked out fairly evenly. You got 2 apiece the wrong way round. And Bill Beaumont has 16 points. Willie Carson has 40. And I'm afraid at that moment we've got to leave question of sport. That was a recording, obviously. We'll be going back at that point in just a few moments. But now we're going for a special news bulletin from Richard Whitmore.
Thank you, David. Well, that's because there's just been a statement from the Defence Secretary, Mr. John Nott, about the fighting in the Falklands and the loss of another British ship. Mr. Nott, making his first statement of the day after a meeting of the War Cabinet, gave this news to journalists waiting at the Ministry of Defence.
A major bridgehead has been established in the area of San Carlos on East Falkland. The major amphibious landing yesterday was a complete success. Tactical surprise was achieved, and our troops landed safely with almost no interference from Argentine forces. We are now ashore on British sovereign territory in considerable force and have 3 Royal Marine Commandos and 2 battalions of the Parachute Regiment firmly in place with their supporting arms, including artillery and rapier and other air defense weapons. From their secure base, our forces will advance to place the occupying Argentine troops under increasing harassment, whilst the Royal Navy maintains and tightens its blockade around the island. To complement the landings, there were raids yesterday in other parts of East and West Falklands. In one of these, Royal Marines captured an Argentine position on Fanning Head overlooking Falkland Sound. In another, the airfield at Goose Green and Argentine positions close by were raided by our forces. Carrier-based RAF Harriers launched attacks in the course of the morning against Argentine installations at Port Stanley Airfield and the helicopters on the ground nearby, as well as military installations at Fox Bay. During these operations, we lost 2 Gazelle helicopters and 1 RAF Harrier is missing. The Argentine Navy has so far made no attempt to intervene. Its surface ships remain bottled up in coastal waters. The Argentine Air Force has, as expected, launched heavy raids on our ships. Air attacks started at about 10:30 local time and continued throughout daylight. A succession of attacks were made by Mirage, Skyhawks, and Pucaras. Combat air patrols by Sea Harriers from the task force were flown continuously and were successful in shooting down a large number of aircraft. We believe that total Argentine losses so far are 9 Mirage, 5 Skyhawks, 2 Pucaras, and 4 helicopters. These losses must represent a very significant blow to the Argentine Air Force. Nevertheless, Argentine aircraft penetrated our air defense screen and carried out attacks on our ships. 3 warships sustained minor damage, but this is being repaired and the ships remain operational. 1 warship has been damaged in the engine room by an unexploded bomb, but all her weapons remain effective. A Type 21 frigate, HMS Ardent, was also hit by bombs and rockets, and after valiant attempts to contain the damage, sank in the course of last night. We do not yet have further detailed casualty figures to add to those already announced by the Ministry, but first reports indicate that about 20 men are missing from HMS Ardent and about 30 are injured. I should like to pay great tribute to the men of our task force, whose actions yesterday were in the highest traditions of Her Majesty's forces, and to the men and women of the Merchant Navy. Over the next day or so, our forces will undoubtedly see action again, and we must expect fresh attacks upon them. But they are fighting now from a secure base, and the hazardous hours of the initial amphibious landing are behind them. We are back on the Falkland Islands and back in strength. We intend to ensure that aggression does not pay.
John Nott speaking just a few minutes ago. Our next scheduled news is at 5:40, but of course, if there are any more important developments, we'll bring them to you before then. So now I'll hand you back to David Coleman at Wembley.
Thank you, Richard. But let me just reinforce, in case you've just joined us, the news from Wembley about the Argentinian Ricky Villa, who should have been playing for Tottenham Hotspur today. It's been decided that in the circumstances, Ricky Villa will not be chosen, will not be in the team, but he will be coming to Wembley to watch the match. The match, of course, kicks off at 3 o'clock. Well, now we're going to rejoin Question of Sport, and we left it, you may remember, after 3 rounds. Willie Carson had 14 points, Bill Beaumont had 16, and they are just about to start round 4. Well, now we come to round 4, the home and away round, and this is the one that sorts out the gamblers from the others. A home question is worth 1 point. It's about their own particular sport. Each team member has a choice. An away question, a general question, could be about any sport, obscure, difficult, but it is worth double and worth 2 points. Now, the captains have decisions to make here because there's just 2 points between them. Steve Ovett has the first choice, but of course, team game, Steve, so you can consult. Are you going home or away?
Well, we've decided we'll take a chance and go to home.
We'll gamble and go home.
Right, in 1896...
Oh, God.
Edwin H. Flack won the Olympic 800 and 1500 metres double. Only one man has ever achieved that feat since. Who was that? Snell. Peter Snell in 1964. So you get you 1 point, and we come across to Kenny Dalglish and Willie Carson's team. Team going home or away?
Home, I think.
Home. Right, Kenny. Over the past 20 years, Celtic and Rangers have dominated the Scottish FA Cup. Only 2 teams in that 20 years have broken their stranglehold. Aberdeen in 1970. Can you name the other club? Team game.
Aberdeen. That's 62. 20 years, 62. Dundee.
Dundee is wrong. So there's a chance of a bonus point on the other side.
Well, the lads reckon it could be Hibs.
It's Dunfermline.
So much of the lads.
It's Dunfermline who beat Hearts 3-1 in 1968. So bad luck there. Neither side scores. Steve Davis, home or away?
Home.
In 1978, the Welsh mining village of Tredegar achieved a unique double in the world of snooker. What was that double?
It was the double was that 2 people from that town won the World Amateur Championships. Probably. one was Cliff Wilson, who was the last winner, and the other one was Ray Reardon. A long time ago, I think.
No. In 1978, the Welsh mining village of Tredegar achieved a unique double in the world of snooker. What was it? You've got it, actually, without quite saying it right.
Oh, no, it's not fair. No, well...
Come on, he's giving
no,
a point.
No. They both won World Championships.
That's right. One won the World Amateur Championship, the other won the World Professional Championship.
I can't possibly take that, but put the point up.
And you get a point out of that. So, we come to one of the big gamblers, so they say, Ian Botham, home or away?
Away.
Right.
Although it began in America just after the turn of the century, this sport found its true beginnings in Australia in 1923. 5 years later, it reached this country, taking place for the first time in Epping Forest. Today, it attracts large crowds. Name the sport. Team game.
Archery.
No.
Archery is wrong, so it goes to the other side for a possible bonus of 2.
So should we go? No, toss up. No, orange.
What's the decision?
Greyhound racing.
Speedway racing. So hard luck. Possible bonus gone there. And Bill Beaumont's turn. Now, Bill, are you going home or away?
I'll try for home, please.
Right. Which has not been your best
No, it
choice.
hasn't been the best at all.
Right, Bill. Name the fullback who played both for and against the Barbarians within the space of 72 hours this Easter holiday weekend and ended up on the losing side on both occasions.
Mark Wyatt of Swansea.
Is right for 1 point. He played for the Barbars when they lost 36-31 to Cardiff, and then against them when he played for Swansea on the Monday, and they were beaten, the Barbars won 25-22, and you get a point out of that. And we complete the round with Willie Carson. Willie, home or away?
Away, please.
Away. Len Rush.
Fine.
Len Rush is trainer of the Queen's Flight. Which sport are we talking about?
Pigeon racing.
Well done.
Yes.
Pigeon racing.
I'm a pigeon.
Oh, yes. Actually, you are a pigeon racing fan, aren't you?
He rides them.
I've got to say, that's almost worth a bonus, isn't it? Bill,
We'll have it.
Bill Beaumont with 19, Willie Carson with 16. Well, round 5 is the what happened next round that produces such weird and wonderful answers. We play a piece of action, we freeze the action, and all the teams have to do is to describe what followed. Well, now, Bill and the two Steves start. Bill, for your team, it's a football teaser, and the occasion, the Gold Cup Final in Montevideo in 1980.
that it?
The goalkeeper.
And is it?
The goalkeeper gets really upset.
Yeah.
Really, really upset.
I think
so upset.
Speak up, Steve.
I think
The goalkeeper. No, I'm not. Well, I'm actually
just talking.
we're just sort of mulling it over.
Yeah. The goalkeeper gets so upset.
He throws the
does
ball into
something.
the crowd. And
That he
the crowd-
bursts the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper got so upset.
No. You see, wait a minute.
The bloke runs against the goalpost, knocks himself out, and the referee decides to give him the kiss of life.
Oh, Steve's got it.
Yeah.
Right. We got through the goalkeeper bursting the ball.
Yeah.
No,
Kiss of life.
We're off that.
Yeah. What are we on now?
Combination of both.
Any permutation?
All that team that had the goal scored against them get so upset with each other, they start fighting with each other.
The team that had the goal
And have a
scored
punch up in the goal mouth.
No, I'm afraid that's not quite right. So it goes across the other side for a possible bonus. So what happened next?
I'm not sure. I think they ended up in the moat. The team that scored the goal.
The team that scored the goal ended up in the moat.
Surrounding the pitch.
Well, it's Uruguay versus Brazil in the Gold Cup final.
2-0.
They scored, that was the winning goal for Uruguay, and they ended up in the moat.
You ripper. Well done, Fennick. That's the team. That's the team.
So you get a bonus of 2 points for that. That was celebrating Uruguay's World Cup, the first ever World Cup, when 50 years earlier that competition was held. And you got a bonus of 2 on your side. Right, Willie, Ian, Kenny, it's your turn. It's snooker for your side. A quarter-final match in the United Kingdom Championship in 1980. What happened next?
Rereading, fine.
So Rex Williams had just conceded 5 points, but he went off. Reardon's turn to play. What happened next?
Right.
Come on, then say it then. Have a guess. Go on. Go on.
Blue comes running back up the table. The white comes off the cush. The two balls clash, and they both go in different pockets.
Interesting, but inaccurate. So it goes across the other side for a possible bonus. What happened next?
I'll pass our snooker expert.
They all end up in the moat.
Steve says that they all end up in the moat.
They end up in the pocket.
And the kiss, the referee gives them the kiss of life.
Do you know?
I don't remember anything apart from all I can say is that the blue ball either it went in the bottom pocket via either the pink or straight in, but I don't think it did. I can't.
Is that what you call an each-way bet?
No. Well, that's what I was saying because I can't.
Actually, let's have a look what happened next, because there are no points going there. In fact, Ian was on the way and then changed his mind. Rex Williams had just given 5 away when he went in off. Now, Reardon flukes the blue here. And watch Rex Williams. A white handkerchief in surrender. And, of course, Reardon went on to win the match. And neither side gets very much out of that, but it does mean, actually, the points difference now, it's very, very close. Bill Bowett has 19 and Willie Carson 18. Well, round 6 is the high-scoring round, the 60-second test, in which they get 5 questions in a minute and 9 points to be won. Questions 1 and 2, well, they're fairly easy, worth a point each. 3 and 4 are worth 2 points each, and question 5 is worth 3. They can pass, go up and down, do what they like. It's only just a waste of time if they get it wrong, but they can guess. No penalty for that sort of thing. Right, Bill, have you got your team briefed? They're all sorted out?
Yeah.
The minute starts now. Who won last year's Bannister Mile at Crystal Palace?
Walker.
Wrong.
Don't know.
Pass.
Which horse finished second to Grittar in the 1982 Grand National?
Pass.
Name these 2.
Borg.
John Lloyd.
Wrong.
Borg.
Borg is right. 1 point.
Fraser.
Wrong.
Conte.
Wrong.
Pass.
Name the two clubs involved in the first All-London FA Cup final.
QPR and Tottenham.
Tottenham, yes, 1 point.
West Brom. West Brom.
No,
Chelsea.
they're not London. Chelsea, yes, is right for 1 point.
Yeah.
Name the other half of these men's doubles winners at Wimbledon.
Newcombe and Roach.
1 point.
Fittipaldi.
Yeah. Hewitt and Macmillan.
2 points.
Lake.
Emerson and Rosewall.
No.
Austin.
The other ones. Who won last summer's Bannister Mile?
Robson.
Wrong.
Williamson.
Wrong.
Cram.
You just run out of time, Steve.
Did I get it in the end?
No, you didn't, actually. You got it right, but just over the time. Steve Cram won that. The horse that finished second to Grittar was Hard Outlook. Looking back at the pictures there, you've got Bjorn Borg right. The other one is the famous Sugar Ray Robinson. You've got the two clubs involved in the first All-London Cup final, Spurs and Chelsea. And the one you were missing on the tennis doubles partners, it was Emerson and Laver. So not particularly high-scoring round there for you, but you are 6 points in front. Willie, Kenny, Ian? You're not under orders, Willie? Quite important, this one. Right, the minute starts now. Cricket. Who captained last year's county champions?
Clive Rice.
Golf. Who was runner-up in the 1982 US Masters?
Watson.
Wrong. Pole. Right. Name these two.
He'll win.
1 point.
Freddie Mills. No.
Wrong.
No, go on.
Go on.
Name the two British show jumpers to gain medals at the 1968 Olympic Games.
No. Bobby Smith.
Wrong.
Go on.
To which divisions do these weight limits apply?
Light, heavy, light.
Which one?
160.
Wrong.
Middleweight.
Correct. 160.
Bantamweight, 118.
Correct. 2 points.
35. Light middleweight.
Wrong.
Middleweight.
Wrong.
Flyweight.
Wrong.
Oh.
Name the two British show jumpers to gain medals at the 68 Olympics.
David Broom.
David Broom, 1 point.
And Marigold Watson.
Wrong.
Flyweight. No,
And you're out of time.
I'll kick myself here. I'll kick myself out here.
Name the two British show jumpers to gain medals at the 68 Olympics. David Broom, you got. The other one was Marion Mould, then Marion Cooks on stroller. She got the silver. Now, the one you were missing, I think, on the professional boxing weights was 135 pounds, and that is lightweight.
Everything else.
So that completes that. And in fact, the one that you're missing on the picture board that you thought was Freddie Mills, I think, Willie, was Jack Gardner, the former British heavyweight champion. So we reached the end of the 1 minute round, and unbelievably, the scores are level. Willie 24, Bill 24. Well, our somebody's got a chance to make the name for themselves to win the whole competition on the picture board. In fact, we can go through the whole picture board, and we start with Bill Bellman's team and Steve Ovette's choice.
We'll take two, I think. Stan Smith.
The Wimbledon 1972 champion for 2 points. Across we go to Kenny Dalglish.
4, please. I know it, yeah. Mark Phillips.
Captain Mark Phillips, that's right.
I didn't want to make a mistake there.
In fact, that's a famous picture. He'd just been in the lake, I think, and he was emptying the water out of his boots. Anyway, you got 2 points out of that, and we move across now to Steve Davis with the scores still level.
Number 11. No, change that.
Steve Ovett, obviously full of ideas there, feeding you, Bill, but can we have a name?
We know it's not.
So it is.
We're not telling them.
Okay, I'm going to have to go to the other side. Are you going to have a guess at all?
Nope.
No name. So it goes across the other side. And that is...
Andrea Giga.
No, bad luck. In fact, it's Nora Perry, the British badminton player, and of course, who shares the World Doubles Championship with Jane Webster. So you both missed out on that one. Right, Ian Botham, your turn.
Number 9.
Not a bad one.
Oh, I wish he had got that one. Wally Swinburne.
Walter Swinburne Jr., Shergar's other half. Talking to Michael Stout, the trainer. You got a couple of points for that. And we've just got the 2 captains left, and Willie has a 2 points lead. So, Bill.
Number 5. Number 5, please, Dan. Robbie Brightwell.
That is right. Easy for Steve Ovett there in the background. Silver medalist in the 4x400 relay in the Olympics. The scores are level, and it's all on number 10 and Willie Carson's team.
Can we have a timeout here?
You write it, son, I'll whip it.
Oh.
Can't afford any mistakes now. Bill Bowman lying in wait. The score's level, 28 each.
Well done, Bill.
He's Irish. It's Irish, I think.
Slattery. Slattery.
Fergus Slattery for 2 points to win the match. So that's the end of this special Cup Final edition of Question of Sport. Our thanks to the stars who've come along. Steve Davis, Steve Ovett. Hope you've enjoyed your first one, Steve Ovett. Ian Botham, Kenny Dalglish, and to the 2 captains who've done so well over the whole series, Bill Bowman and Willie Carson. Thanks very much. Some lineup, wasn't it? And they enjoyed themselves too. Meanwhile, enjoying themselves at Wembley on the Wembley Cup Final pitch and being saluted by their supporters. And the team will be wearing red today, by the way, a changed colour. The Queen's Park Rangers player, and there's their young striker, Clive Ellen, just 21 2 days ago. Clive, who got the goal that brought them into the final. Terry Venables, the thoughtful young manager of Queen's Park Rangers. How delighted he must be. He's got a connection, of course, with the opposing team today, Spurs, because he got a Cup Winners' medal with them in 1967. This is a familiar setting for Spurs players. They were here 12 months ago, most of them. And as we look at the Queen's Park Rangers players from the second division, revelling in this atmosphere, and remembering, of course, that 3 times in the last 9 seasons, second division clubs have beaten first division opposition, enjoying themselves thoroughly, and enjoying, too, the positions of being underdogs, on their way to the ground in the club coach, the Spurs players, and we can join them now with Alan Perry.
But Glenn Hoddle, they're a considerable problem, and after all the problems that Tottenham have had on the run into the final, do you still think that the mood is right?
Yes, I think we've got the same feeling as we had last year, and we felt we couldn't have prepared any better last year, although we ended up winning the cup in the replay. But the feeling's very good, it's very relaxed. We've been at that hotel many a times this season, so it's something that we're used to. And, you know, it's nice and relaxed. Obviously, it's all about what happens at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's the main thing, but you can only prepare yourself, and we feel we've done the right thing.
Well, sitting just across the way is Garth Crooks. And Garth, I would imagine at a moment like this, you're all on the way to Wembley, you're all definitely in the team. You must all be feeling particular sympathy for poor Ricky Vieira, who, of course, isn't.
Obviously, we're very sorry that the situation has forced Ricky not to play. But the situation is that he's not going to play, and we're all looking forward to the game now. And we want to go on with the job in hand.
Is there a bit of banter in this coach ride, or is it all a little bit of quiet nervousness, do you think?
No, a little bit of banter mixed with a bit of quiet nervousness, I think. See what I mean? So we're relaxed and we're looking forward to the game. I think at times like this, you're more concerned with just going over the fine little details of your game and getting on the pitch and soaking up the atmosphere and getting on with the job in hand, like I've said.
I suppose it's less than an hour's drive to Wembley. It must seem as long as Jimmy Hill's chin sometimes, though, this journey.
Not quite as long as that. I think we've just met the Falklands and we've seen some of the fans, and it's nice to speak to them and wave to them. And between now and getting to Wembley, we'll meet a lot of Spurs fans, and we'll share a joke with them out of the window and try and mix up the journey a little bit. But it's a nice, quite a nice, pleasant trip to Wembley.
Well, best of luck, Garth. And let's have one final word before we go with the Tottenham skipper, Steve Perryman, who's had a bit of a dramatic morning with a fitness check right at the 11th hour. How are you feeling, Steve?
Very well, thank you.
And the injury, completely clear?
Yes, no problem.
Steve, on the way to Wembley once more. Meanwhile, on the pitch, some of the Rangers players talking to Bob Wilson.
Well, I have with me Ian Gillard. Ian, how are you feeling at this moment?
I've got a few butterflies, but I'm enjoying all the atmosphere. Tremendous.
I think the question we must ask you, is it really going to be your last game for Queen's Park Rangers after, 15 years?
That's right, yeah, it is my last game, and I'm on a free transfer. But at the moment, all that's on my mind is obviously to get a Cup Winners' medal.
Of course, you are one of the 2 Rangers players only, and plus the manager, Terry Venables, who has any Wembley experience.
That's right, yeah, I think there's only me and Tony Curry. I think 1 or 2 of them have had schoolboy experience on here, but when you've been involved in England scenes and that, it's a tremendous feeling.
Ian, thanks very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by Gary Woddick. Gary, it's very close for you, isn't it? This,
it's just round the corner. Like I could have walked up in about 5-10 minutes. Like
Can you actually see the stadium from your house?
Yeah, I can see the floodlights and that from like the back window and that.
Many people are speculating that your job will be to perhaps be very close to Glenn Hoddle. Are you prepared to say anything about that?
Well, I'll probably be the nearest one soon, but I haven't been given any specific job to mark him. But when he gets the ball, I'll be the nearest one soon, right? Because he's playing on the right side and I'm playing on the left side.
What are your thoughts about the surface? A little bit of grease on the top?
I think it's just nice. Like we had a bit of rain last night and that, and I think it looks beautiful.
Have a good game, Gary.
Okay.
Good luck. I'm now joined by Simon Stainrod. Hello, Simon.
Hello. How are you?
Are you on a very confident member of the Rangers side?
Yes, extremely confident, especially after coming out and seeing the ground and everything looks wonderful. Yeah.
I say that because you have openly said that you believe that you will win.
I really do believe that we will win. Yeah, I think it's our year, and I'm sure that we're going to get the right result today.
What are your feelings about this number 10 shirt? Everybody talks about the likeness to Rodney Marsh and Stan Bowles, and obviously you do a few things as well that are a little bit special.
Yeah, well, after a while, when I sort of established myself here, I made sure I got the number 10 shirt. I've always worn the 10 shirt at most the other clubs that I've played at, and I feel as though it's lucky for me, and I've worn it since I was at school, really.
So very confident?
Very, very confident, yeah.
Good luck, Simon.
Thank you.
Well, I'm joined now by the old man of the Queen's Park Rangers side. He probably won't like my saying that, Tony Curry.
No, I don't mind at all. I am old.
What about the injury situation? Everybody's saying about Tottenham injuries, but you've had a few problems yourself in the last month or so.
Yeah, for about 5 or 6 weeks I've had an Achilles problem, and that's going to be okay today. It's just the legs and lungs that's probably give way before anything.
A lot of comparisons already being made or suggested between you and Glenn Hoddle, Tony.
Yeah, obviously. I think we're the 2 players in each team that make the rest of the players tick, really. And I think that's what everybody talks about.
And your own experience, the fact that you've played at Wembley for England, just you and Ian Gillard, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important. I think me and Gilly have been pretty quiet on the trip, tried to keep everybody else calm, and because most of the boys have had a lot of nerves, but that's only normal. And once 3 o'clock comes, the game will take care of itself, and the boys will be relaxed.
I hope you enjoy it, Tony.
Thank you, Bob.
Here comes Bob Hazel. Hello, Bob. Nice to see you. You're the man who kept Cyril Regis very much in check in the semi-final, and obviously looking for as good a game today.
I most definitely am, and I'm going to do it.
What do you feel about the atmosphere?
beautiful. You can't imagine anything like it. You've got to be here yourself to actually savor it.
I'm very confident.
Very confident.
All the best to you, Bob.
Thanks very much.
Good luck. And finally here I have Clive Ellen. Hi, Clive. How are you?
Yeah,
How are you
fine,
feeling at
thanks.
this moment?
Very nervous. I think I've just seen the family. I've just shed a few tears just to unwind a little bit. I got a bit ate up on the coach coming up, but I'm fine now.
Well, I'm not one to give you advice, Clive, but what I'd like you to do at this moment is to take these earphones, because at this moment, if you put those on, we can link you up with your father in the BBC gantry.
Hello?
Hello. Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
It's great, eh?
Yeah, magic.
It's different to the bush.
Yeah, it certainly is, yeah.
You've got plenty of room to move about out there today.
Yeah, that's right.
And I hope you make the most of it.
I hope so too. Thanks a lot. Hello?
Yeah, I'm
Still
here.
there?
Yeah.
I just see all the family. Give them a wave. They all look well. They're nice and relaxed. So I wish I felt the same way though.
Good.
Just a bit up now, but ready to go.
Once you get out there, that'd be no problem.
No, that's I'm dying for that at the moment. I just want to get out there and play.
Good luck.
Cheers.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. And just stay there for a moment, Les. I mean, all the sort of emotion that's generated by a cup final, he's down there in front of all these supporters. You obviously feel yourself very strongly. It's, what, 21 years since you played in the cup final?
Yeah, it is now. 21 years, yeah.
But it was coming back to you then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Once you get back to Wembley, the feeling starts to come back to you.
It is a truly remarkable atmosphere, isn't it?
There's nothing like it.
Yeah. You're obviously nervous for Clive.
I am more nervous now than once a game starts, there's no problems. But I get more nervous watching than ever when I played.
Actually, I got the feeling that young Clive was feeling a bit emotional talking to you.
Yeah, well, he knew where the seats were on the left of the royal box there. And I think the family must be in there now, and he's seen them all.
Well, what a remarkable threesome it would be, actually, if he could get a winner's medal today. There was you in '61. There was cousin Paul with West Ham 2 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And now the hat-trick.
Hopefully, but as I said to Clive, it's a one-off today. It's not often you get to Wembley. Make sure you enjoy every minute of it, because the twice I was here, you don't remember anything of it. It goes so quick. So many things happen over the weeks, and it's all gone before you can remember it.
Tell me, Les, you've had connections with both clubs, but Spurs was your great club, of course. How divided are you? With the Spurs players actually coming on the way, they're on the way from the coach. How divided are you?
There's only one team in it as far as I'm concerned today, and that is QPR.
Because of young Clive?
Of course, yeah.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, the Spurs players there, disembarking, an experience you enjoyed some 21 years ago when Spurs won the cup, and then they came back 12 months later to win it again, and that's the situation these players are in. And the Spurs injury news is that Clements, Perryman and Galvin all passed tests this morning, and Price comes in for Villa. Keith Birkinshaw has decided not to play Ricky Villa this afternoon. I was just looking for Ricky as he came through there, but I understand he may already be in the stadium, but he certainly apparently will be coming here to watch. Anyway, in a few minutes we should be able to meet the Spurs players on the pitch as we met Queen's Park Rangers just a few minutes ago. In the meantime, though, this is the third year of the Robinson Barleywater Young Player of the Year award. 2 years ago, it was won by Gordon Cowans of Aston Villa, and another Villa player won it last year, and that was Gary Shaw. Well, this season, the Villa monopoly has been broken, and this time by a young player who started the season in Liverpool reserves. By Christmas, he was a regular first-team choice, and the name of the Young Player of the Year is Ronnie Wheeler.
Alan Kennedy. Finding Lee, a good little knockback in to Souness. And the shot comes to Whelan.
That goal, scored on Boxing Day against Manchester City, was one of Ronnie Whelan's first for Liverpool, but despite being struck nicely, it didn't prevent a home defeat which left his club in 12th place and seemingly out of the Championship reckoning. Whelan's main concern at the time was simply to show enough skill to convince Bob Paisley that he was worthy of a regular first-team place. It didn't take long. Ronnie, the son of a former Republic of Ireland international, already possessed outstanding technique, illustrated perfectly here with a falling volley which laid on a goal for Kenny Dalglish. When allied to a good footballing brain and appreciation of space, it quickly established Ronnie Whelan as one of the discoveries of the season. to Johnson.
Oh, and the headers to Whelan!
By the end of January, the Kop had already taken the 20-year-old Irishman to their hearts, but even better was to follow. 2 goals at Wembley against Spurs as Liverpool came from behind to retain the League Cup. Ronnie Wheeler had well and truly arrived, a fact endorsed last Saturday as Liverpool again beat Spurs, this time to clinch the championship. In the opening minutes, an example of Whelan's courage and determination. Shortly afterwards, the unselfish running and supporting play which has created so many goal-scoring opportunities for his colleagues, in this case, Kenny Dalglish. And coming up, a typical Liverpool move ending with the young midfield player receiving in space on the left in exactly the same way as the man he succeeded, Ray Kennedy. There was also a goal which ensured that Liverpool maintained their incredible record.
1964 was the first one for the modern Liverpool under Bill Shankly. But it looks like 5 now in the last 7 seasons under Bob Paisley. Miller's header, it's going to come to Whelan, and Whelan makes it 3-1. And that is the championship now.
Ronnie Whelan's 14th goal at the end of a memorable first season in senior football. One capped at Anfield last Saturday as Liverpool skipper Graham Souness turned and threw the league championship trophy appropriately towards the Irishman. And today as Ronnie Whelan is named Robinson's Young Player of the Year.
And a welcome to Ron Greenwood, England's team manager. Thank you for coming along to make the presentation of Robinson's Barley Water Young Player of the Year trophy to Ronnie. Would you do it?
Ronnie, what a hat-trick, eh? League Cup here at Wembley, of all places, a championship medal, and then the trophy of the Young Player of the Year, first year in football. And I must say that you had to tip your own teammate, Ian Rush, to get it. Congratulations and every success in the future. Thank you very much, Ron.
Well,
that's the one that's returned from the...
A proud Ronnie Whelan getting instructions about the trophy. And meanwhile, the Spurs players now on the Wembley pitch. Most of them know so well. Ray Clements. Well, this is the first FA Cup final appearance for Ray Clements for Tottenham Hotspur, but of course not his first Cup final appearance by any means, because he's been here with Liverpool before, and of course played often on the Wembley pitch with England. Chris Hughton, the young Republic of Ireland international fullback. Steve Archibald testing the turf. Spurs Scottish international striker. Certainly Steve's having a good look around. Those are the Queen's Park Rangers fans. And incidentally, colour changes today. Queen's Park Rangers will be playing in red, and Glenn Hoddle and the Spurs boys will be wearing all yellow because of the colour clash. Garth Crooks, well, do you remember that shot of Garth Crooks 12 months ago? It certainly sticks in my memory. When he stood in the middle of the pitch, he was the last player left there, and he was absorbing the atmosphere as best he could, looking around silently at the crowd and really trying to remember every moment of it. Paul Miller and Glenn Hoddle. And Keith Birkinshaw, the manager, who's had his problems this morning, had to decide whether to leave Veer out in view of the escalation of hostilities in the Falkland Islands. Discussed it with Veer, and I gather the player volunteered to stay out of the side. We are told that Ricky Veer is coming to watch the match this afternoon, but he's not out there on the pitch, I don't think, at the moment. And Keith Birkinshaw said that he hoped Ricky Veer would be sitting alongside him on the bench. Paul Price on the far side will be taking the place of Veer this afternoon. An unexpected bonus for him. And Spurs have got the astonishing cup record of never having been beaten in a final. They first played an FA Cup final, I think, as a non-league side at the turn of the century. They won that one. And indeed, if they win the cup for the 7th time today, they equal Aston Villa's record. Nice shot of the players moving towards the packed banks of Spurs supporters above the tunnel, and just below is Bob Wilson.
I have with me Garth Crooks. Garth, does it seem 5 visits in a year? I mean, is there any difference?
I can't believe it's 5 visits in a year, Bob, but it's every bit as special as when I first came.
Now, we noticed there's no Ricky Beer out on the pitch here. That is obviously a big blow to you, a big blow to Spurs in general, but do you think it could react in so much of the lads are wanting to win this game so much for Ricky?
Well, the lads want to win the game for Ricky, for the club, for the fans. We're very disappointed that he's not with us, but sometimes world events take over football, and in this situation, unfortunately, he has done. But we're about football and not politics, and we want to come here and show what Tottenham Hotspur have got to offer.
And is the confidence in the team as much as it has been in the, perhaps in the middle of the season? I say that because it's been an unhappy time, hasn't it, for a week or two anyway?
Well, it's been a little bit of an apprehensive week for us. We've been 1 or 2 injury doubts, but the boys have pulled through. We're delighted for them. We've not got Ricky, like we say, so without Ricky, we are at full strength. So we're really looking forward to a great game and playing like we know we can play.
Have a good game.
Cheers, thanks, Bob.
Well, I'm joined now by Steve Curran. Hi, Steve. I must first ask you, you were in fact a Queen's Park Rangers supporter, weren't you, Ron?
That's right, yes. From the age of about 12 to 14, yes.
And what about this excitement of the week, Footballer of the Year, which we offer our congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Obviously the highlight of your career, Steve.
It's the best award I've ever received, and it's made me very, very proud. And then to be followed so quickly by this occasion is, well, fantastic.
I also want to ask you about the injury situation. There have been those niggly injuries which can always disrupt the team.
Sure.
Do you feel, having had that practice match this morning, that perhaps it has helped?
Everything now is okay, you know. The injuries have recovered, and apart from the disruption during the week, this is the best prepared Tottenham team has ever been at Wembley.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I'm joined now by Tony Galvin. Tony, the first thing is to ask you about your various injuries and illness that was.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a traumatic week. Started off with an illness on Monday. I played in a friendly Wednesday, got another setback with a serious knee injury. I didn't think I stood any chance of playing on Thursday, and now I'm okay, fortunately.
So you're feeling confident and ready to go?
I'm raring to go, looking forward to the match.
Good luck, Tony. Good luck. Well, I'm joined now by Keith Burkishaw. Hello, Keith. Now, it has been obviously a worrying morning for you. We do notice that Ricky Beer's not with you at this moment. Has he in fact come to the stadium?
No, he was intending coming, but a lot of problems with the media at home, and he's a little bit scared about leaving his wife there by herself. So we're all a little bit perturbed about that, and we would have loved to have had him here with us, but Ricky, we're all thinking about your son.
I know you, Keith, are somebody who, like you, prefer to sort of stay out of the limelight. Yes. Here you are with 5 visits in a year, which is a new record for a manager. Are you finding it more comfortable now? Are you finding it more comfortable, the atmosphere? And
I don't think it gets any easier. It's tremendous noise that you get every time you walk onto the stadium, and probably nowhere else in the world like this. Ricky and Ozzy, who'd sampled the World Cup recently, you know, they thought that this was unique. And I think it is. Just listen to these fans at the back here. Tremendous.
There was a time in the season when everybody would have been saying Spurs for the Cup, but do you feel that the injuries and the problems might disrupt you?
No, I think that we'll come out even stronger. We'll wait and see anyway on that one.
Keith, thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. And they go back to the dressing room to change. Well, our phone-in today has been interrupted, of course, by the extended news bulletins, and quite rightly. But there's been one constant request, and it started during the week, and it's gone on all day, to see this fellow in action, Alex Higgins. Now, Alex has been playing trick shots for us, but sit back, Alex, now, and look at the most requested item of the lot, your winning break in the World Championship.
And that's a magnificent shot, right on the black.
Yes, and that was a real pressure shot, because had he have missed that, all the reds were spread open and he would have left me with a good chance. Marvellous shot. And I think he's made a bit of a mess of that one.
8.
and left himself in a very difficult position to use the rest. Well, he's got the shot, but the result is that he's out of position on the black, and this is a very dangerous shot again.
And everything's starting to flow now for Alex Higgins.
Well, Alex knows that the championship is within his grasp from this position,
24.
providing that he's very careful. No reason why he shouldn't win the title here. And Reardon will be suffering in his seat.
25. $30. $31.
This is the
38.
fourth time that Alex Higgins has been in this final. Won it in 1972. Lost it to Ray Reardon in 1976.
39.
And lost it to the Canadian champion Cliff Thorburn in 1980. Frustrated, but helpless.
$44.
Well, I think that's just touched that red in the right way to leave it into the corner pocket if he wished to play that. He plays in the centre, and providing the strength is right for the black, and it is, he's still back in perfect position.
45. $52. $57.
Well, now he's got the perfect angle, and he's got to disturb the reds. And that's perfect. That certainly must be the shot that makes the title certain.
$64.
71. Yeah. 72. 77.
The 33-year-old Irishman, making hay while the sun shines. Going out in a complete blaze of glory here.
84. 85.
Controversial, temperamental, but a terrific talent for the game of snooker.
92.
And what a way to finish.
'93. 101.
The 13th snooker century of the championship.
And what a time to make it, Ted. Fantastic.
108. Quiet, please. Thank you. Under the 10.
Just 3 balls to go now for a break of 135. Ray Reardon has sat in his chair for the whole of this final frame. Fantastic.
And the Embassy World Snooker Champion for 1982 is Alex Higgins.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new world champion, Alex Higgins.
The champion of the world. What a moment to cherish. Alex, congratulations. You must have been exhausted, and that emotional exhaustion as well that was showing at the end. What was it like afterwards? I mean, could you relax?
We were inundated with all sorts of well wishers and what have you, which most of the time you don't mind, but also the media just never let go. It's the greatest moment of my life to become the modern day world champion, because like I'm not trying to play on anything that's happened present day, but I mean generally over the last 5 or 6 years with recessions and what have you, I think more people are under pressure, no matter which walk of life they're in. And for me to actually overcome a lot of pressures, which I have been under over the last 2 or 3 years, because they have been pretty barren years, to come back and actually absorb all that and to be a world champion again, I think I mean, what can I say?
Alex, when you won the World Championship last time, I think it was worth about £480, I think you told me once. Is that right?
Well, I think, really, without blowing my own trumpet, when I first beat John Spencer in the World Championship, I did get 480 and John Spencer got 320, and it was the Selly Park British Legion in Selly Park, Birmingham. And that was wonderful, and I wanted to at that time because I've always been a fan. I like sports and what have you, but there's few people that turned me on, and I mean, my Muhammad Ali and what have you. And I wanted at that time when he was at his peak to say, "Well, I'm the greatest," and something nobody told me that was what I was going to do, and suddenly when I actually won it, instead of saying anything, I just bit my lip and said, "You've done it." And I think over the years, no matter which type of thing I have won, I've took it, or at least tried to take it low key and tried to care a little bit about how the other fella feels. And I think this year Ray lost very graciously, and I won graciously myself.
Alex, I love the title you've given yourself, the People's Champion.
I think over the years that a lot of people have had so much, what do you call it, admiration, sympathy, or whatever about the way I play the game. And I've tried for years at Sheffield to win. I think perhaps I should have beaten Cliff 3 years ago. And I've had, for want of a better word, a little bit of bad luck against various players. Actually.
And you have had health problems as well, and you've been tortured as well, as you told me at the start of the year, by self-doubt. But here you are now as champion of the world. You were once an apprentice jockey, weren't you?
Yes, I've got very good friends in racing, and the actual stable I was with, they were very, very good to me.
Well, just 1 second. We've got a little surprise for you, because if you turn your head, there's someone you know. And it's Jocelyn Reevy, wife of the late Eddie Reevy, and she's got there, and you work for the Reevy stable, I think, a golden disc for you that was promised you if you won the world title. Now, who promised you that, Alex?
It was a chap I met called Cozy Powell, who was one of the best drummers in the world. And evidently, he was very keen on Alex Higgins, and he came to Pop Black at Christmas because his wife arranged it, because he wanted to meet me. And we've become firm friends ever since. And I must add that I've met him about 6 or 7 weeks ago. He wanted to give me a gold disc. And I said, well, I couldn't take anything like that off you without doing something for it. And I said, if I get to the final of the World Championship, I'll have it. And I received a telegram the other day. He said, you little bugger, you've got it. And he went on and won it. And I think Jocelyn and him have got together to do this for me. So
Jocelyn, thanks very much indeed for that surprise. Golden disc there for Alex Higgins, the champion of the world. Well, we can't promise a golden disc for the winner of our next competition because it's the result of goal of the season, but for the winning viewer, £300 in premium bonds. Well, now we've had an enormous entry, and across on the far side of the studio here at Wembley, Sebastian Coe, multi-world record holder, has the job of finding the winning postcards. And £300, remember, going to the winner in premium bonds. Well, now let's have a look at the panel's choice, and these are the first three in reverse order. In third place was goal L, scored by Tony Morley for Aston Villa against Anderlecht.
Morley!
In second place was goal N, scored by Gary Stanley for Swansea against Manchester City.
Stanley.
Oh, clearly hits. And a beauty.
And in first place was goal J, scored by Cyril Regis for West Bromwich Albion against Norwich City.
Regis taking it well on the chest, and a lovely piece of control by Regis. Oh, and what a great shot! Oh, one of the goals of the season. Cyril Regis.
One of the goals of every season, I would have thought. No wonder it was chosen 100% by the judges as the winner. And the 5 judges were Jimmy Hill, Ron Greenwood, Bob Wilson, Laurie McMenemy, and Bobby Charlton. 100% vote. In second place, letter N, And in third place, the letter L. JNL is the 1, 2, 3. And for the score of the winning goal, that beautiful Salva from Match of the Day. It really is absolutely superb and engraved with the names of previous winners. Well, now, Sebastian Coe is looking for the winner, or should be there in the background, working hard. All right, Seb.
Slowly.
You've got the order, have you? JNL. And while he's doing that, we'll get our two members of our team that chose the winner to analyse the first three. Now, take the first one, the third one first, Jim. Tony Morley.
Goal for those that like build-up goals, those that come from the keeper. In fact, this goal did come out from Rimmer. And we don't see all of that actually on the videotape. We pick it up halfway, but no Anderlecht player had touched the ball from the moment it had gone into Rimmer's hands. But that through ball from Cowns there, the exact control of Morley was the thing we liked particularly about it. And of course, it was clinical finishing, and a very important goal it was, because it meant virtually that Villa got to the final of the European Cup.
Well, that was the third place goal. That was goal L. Now, Laurie, let's move on to you for the second place goal.
Yeah.
That was Gary Stanley for Swansea City.
That's right. He was playing a midfield position that day, Dave, and then the other one had a little bit of movement from the team. This is pure and simple. There he is waiting. He picked up the pieces. He turned around. He's essentially right-footed, I think, and he thought, oh, the hell, I'll have a shot. He doesn't fancy running today, and he's whacked it. And if there wasn't a net there, that would have gone clean through the crowd. And you hear about goalkeepers saying they never saw it. Well, that fella had no chance, did he?
Some shot, was it?
Tremendous shot. Straightforward, good goal.
Talking about shooting, though, you were absolutely 100% between you, the five of you, on the winner, Cyril Regis. Now, Jimmy first.
Well, the speed of that last shot, I thought, was faster, actually, than the one coming up now from Regis. But why Regis was voted, I think, by everyone was because he'd had a turn as well. And again, this came direct, I think, from a goal kick. So it's strange the way goals come. There's the turn. Take it up there, Laurie.
Well, look, it's not just the fact that he's turned now. Look at the bodies around him. They're snapping at his heels. And look at the power of the man. I mean, fancy meeting him at night time, 1 against 1. You wouldn't fancy that. And I don't know about the strength. Look at the power of that. He's turned his body full round. The keeper saw it, but he was damn pleased he didn't get in the way of it. Tell you that much, because that was really powerful, like the man himself.
Okay, well, Seb Coe is now caught in the background between looking out the window and looking at the winning post goal, which I think he's found. Have you found one, Seb?
I have, yes. Very pleased to be able to say the winners from Sheffield.
I don't believe it.
Dear me.
Come on, tell us who it is then.
So Mr. G.A. Birtles of 10 Basildine Road, Sheffield.
And I'll just read it out again. He's got £300 in premium bonds. Mr.
Birtles of 10 Basildine Road.
Do you know him?
Sheffield.
Do you know him?
I don't think so, no.
Not yet. Mr. Birtles of Sheffield is winner of our Goal of the Season competition, and Cyril Regis gets the silver salver. Congratulations to them both. And there's absolutely, well, it's nothing to do with the fact that Seb lives in Sheffield at all. Although he is supporting Queen's Park Rangers today because he went to school with one of their players, Simon Stainrod. But I wonder if our two distinguished panellists will agree with the nomination of Queen's Park Rangers. Now, Laurie, you know what it's like to be here as a second division side.
Yes.
No pressure, which has got to be an asset.
Not fancied at all.
Yeah.
And the only difference for them is I think we were 7-1 on the day. We had no chance whatsoever. They're only 3-1. And somebody obviously rates them a little bit higher. But the opposition, Tottenham, are odds on. And that means that they're supposed to win. The pressure is on them. In fact, they are the better team. I mean, they're more experienced. They've been here so many times in the last 12 months. Everything points to them winning, and that's what worries me a little bit. Because I've got to declare an interest, David. I need, as manager of Southampton, Tottenham to win today for Southampton to qualify for Europe, for the UEFA Cup. But I've got this little niggle at the back of my mind that Queen's Park Rangers are so relaxed, and Terry Venables has got them in the right frame of mind. They haven't had the tensions that Keith's had to have right at the last minute. I mean, fancy having to have a practice on the morning of the game to get his team right because he's had to do a last-minute change. That is hard for him. Terry's a laugher, joke, he treats it very lightly, and underneath he's very serious, and he's proved by getting here. But if his team are as relaxed as him, and I was impressed with Tony Curry in the interviews, because it's going to hinge around him for their side. Well, I just a sneaky little feeling they win, but I've got to hope that Tottenham win.
Remember last year I went out and bought those sky blue underpants and tipped Manchester City, and in the end Tottenham beat them. Well, this year I was looking for a pair of black shoelaces, which I suppose should mean that I should go for Tottenham this morning. Didn't find them. I don't know whether that's significant, but the injury question I think is a very important one. Not so much for the three Spurs players, because I think they'll shrug those off and battle on, because they've got to win something this season. to lose 3 trophies for such a good team, I think, is something that is so hard to stomach. And I do really feel that Tony Curry is the one who might not last on this particular occasion. He's had an Achilles tendon injury, not an easy one to shake off, and he's a brilliant player at his best, and I'd love to see him sparkle and play well. But I'm worried, but with the strengthening of Spurs in midfield, by the moving up of Graham Roberts, a more defensive player and stronger player, shall we say, than Ricky Villa, that might give Spurs the extra steel in the middle of the field to make them harder to beat. And bear in mind, they've got as far as they've got quite often by winning 1-0. Their defence is much maligned, but as often as not, they win matches by the odd goal and the defence is held out, now that Clements has got into an understanding with his defence.
Right, Jim. Well, we've got a very short discussion because we've had extended news bulletins all day, and the programme has been altered as we go along with the news from the Falklands. Can I just pin you down now, very briefly, your tip?
You're pinning me down,
yes.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, dear me. Well, I'm not going for the underdogs. I got them at 4-1 in the semi-final and made a bit of money, but I don't think on this day they are going to take that 1 trophy away from Tottenham. I think that Spurs are going to do it.
Laurie?
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think, I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in it, but I think Tottenham will come up with it. Hope so.
That's more in hope than anything else, Mr. Clark. Okay. Thanks very much indeed. Incidentally, don't forget, when we started the programme today, we were involving viewers all the way. We haven't been able to take as many calls because of changes in our programme as we would have liked, but there's still something that viewers can take part in, and that is the phone-in to nominate the player of the match this afternoon for the BBC trophy. Now, we'll be taking calls from 4:25 till about 5:25. Just one-line nominations, please, because the girls won't take anything else at all. And that's the number to ring. 01, if you're outside London, 811 8055. For you at home, from 4:25 onwards, to nominate the player of the match. And a special trophy goes to that player. I'll read you that again. 01 if you're outside London, otherwise you drop the 01. 811 8055. For you at home, from 4:25 till about 5 to 5, to nominate the player of the match, and the trophy, in the event of the match being won and not drawn and going to a replay, the trophy will be then presented to the winning player. So a chance for you at home to get really involved in the FA Cup Final of 1982. Well, now, with the final display on the turf of Wembley, we can go out to join our match commentator for this 1982 final. Here to introduce the teams is John Motson.
First, Queen's Park Rangers, and goalkeeper Peter Hucker had played only 1 senior game before he came into the side for the 3rd round cup tie against Middlesbrough, but his calm temperament kept him the position. Terry Fennick at right back is an England under-21 international who can also play in midfield. He's particularly dangerous in the Rangers setup in the air when he moves up for corners and for free kicks. Ian Gillard is playing the last of nearly 500 matches for his only club, Queen's Park Rangers. Their left back is being given a free transfer in recognition of 15 years' service. The number 4, Gary Woddick, is a red-haired midfield player who could make life very uncomfortable for Tottenham's Glenn Hoddle. Woddick was born only 20 minutes walk away from Wembley and still lives at Kingsbury. Centre-half Bob Hazel has excelled this season on Rangers' synthetic pitch, and he contained West Brom's Cyril Regis in the semi-final. Hazel was born in Kingston, Jamaica. The Rangers captain, Glenn Roeder, was relieved that his suspension for a recent sending-off doesn't start until after today. He's a highly skillful player who likes to come forward, but he would miss any replay. John Gregory, who will wear number 11, can play in virtually any position, but Rangers will use him in midfield, where his heading and tackling will prove important. He's also a useful goalscorer. It's Tony Curry's first cup final, and the England midfield player, who was born not far from here at Edgware, hopes to climax his varied career with a winner's medal at the age of 32. Clive Ellen scored Rangers' winning goal in both the 6th round and the semi-final. As you may know by now, his father Les played here for Spurs in 1961 and for Rangers in 1967.
Number 10, Steinman Stainrod, has always had a special affection for that shirt, and he follows in the footsteps of previous Rangers heroes like Rodney Marsh and Stan Bowles. They all had extravagant touches. And nobody wants to beat Spurs more than Mike Flanagan, who was in Tottenham's FA Youth Cup winning team of 1970, but was later released by the club. You'll find him on Rangers' left. And the substitute, Gary Micklewhite, who played in the semi-final against West Brom, is a versatile player who's only 21. He didn't make his full league debut until earlier this season. Well, so much for Rangers. Now Tottenham Hotspur, and Ray Clements is playing in his 8th Wembley final, 6 with Liverpool and 2 now in his first season at Spurs. His FA Cup winners' medal came in 1974. Although he wears number 2, Chris Hughton will play left-back as he did in last year's final. His speed on that flank is important to Spurs in his recovery and defence and his moving up into attack. Paul Miller is a Londoner who plays centre-back, and he's married to the daughter of one of Spurs' most devoted fans. Paul's design company have produced the Spurs staff cup final tie. Well, Graham Roberts, now in midfield, has good reason to remember cup final week. 2 years ago, he signed for Spurs from Weymouth, and last year he had 2 teeth knocked out against Manchester City here. The form of Mick Hazard has been a big plus for Tottenham this season. He started as a mere deputy for more accomplished midfield players, but in the course of the season, Hazard has scored 10 goals, many of them vital. The Spurs captain, Steve Perryman, has been voted Footballer of the Year by the Football Writers Association, and what a popular winner he is. Steve has had a pain-killing injection for his injured thigh before the match today. Paul Price, the captain of Wales, heard this morning that he was in the starting lineup. He'll play in the back 4 and end his first season with Spurs by playing in the FA Cup final. Number 8, Steve Archibald, scored for Tottenham in the League Cup final here against Liverpool, so he's after a unique double this afternoon. Injury has reduced his effectiveness this season. And talking of injuries, number 9, Tony Galvin, has missed Tottenham's last 7 matches and was only past fit this morning to take his left-wing position, where Spurs manager Keith Birkinshaw feels he could be the key factor this afternoon. And the effectiveness of Glenn Hoddle will again be a major consideration in the final. Last year against Manchester City, he rose to the occasion. This year, Rangers have made special plans to contain him. Garth Crooks scored Spurs' equaliser in the replay here last year and put them on the road to Wembley again this season with the winning goal against Arsenal in the 3rd round and the winner against Leeds in the 4th. And Gary Brooke will be the Spurs substitute for the 2nd FA Cup final in succession. At 21, he's the youngest player in the Tottenham 12, but he's the ideal cover for Tony Galvin. So, this familiar scene. This is Wembley's 54th FA Cup final, as the FA Cup competition itself goes into its 2nd century with the 101st final today. And it's fitting perhaps that it will go also into the 21st century, still being played here at Wembley, because that seems to be the outcome of the agreement still to be finally signed between Wembley Stadium and their owners and the Football Association, because the deal will be that the FA will use Wembley for the next 20 years. Renovations in that time will amount to £5 million, and already improvements in a small way have started here at Wembley. And one familiar part of the ground that you always see on Cup Final Day, the 39 steps which lead up from the pitch level to the Royal Box. That's where the players go to receive their medals, as you know. And that gangway has been widened this year. The reason is to prevent the players being mobbed by over-enthusiastic supporters who tend to lean across there and bedeck the players with scarves and hats and rosettes. And the Football Association and the Wembley authorities decided to give the players rather more room on the way up and indeed on the way down. Now, that window there
is interesting because that actually is the royal retiring room where the royal guests are taken for refreshments before the match, at half-time and after the match. And some viewers did write in last year after the Cup Final and asked me what happens to the FA Cup trophy itself in the course of the afternoon until you see it presented to the winning captain. Well, I can reveal that when the Cup first comes to Wembley about lunchtime, it's put away in a special safe in a vault in the stadium, and at 4:30 it's taken into that retiring room. At that stage it has on it the ribbons of the two teams. Then the losers' ribbons are removed before it comes into view, and on the final whistle the cup is brought out of the royal retiring room, and that's when you see it up there on the front row of the royal box. Perhaps fitting then that we should have a look at the Tottenham fans, because it was Tottenham who first put ribbons on the cup way back in 1901. David Coleman referred earlier to their first final as a Southern League club. They won the FA Cup in that year, and it was actually at the Spurs banquet that evening that blue and white ribbons were put on the handles of the FA Cup. And since that day, the habit has been maintained. And although Spurs have had 6 FA Cup final wins out of 6, the trophy itself, since that day in 1901, has of course been changed. The present trophy has been used since 1911, and I'm told by Ted Croker, the Secretary of the Football Association, that in the next few years the FA Cup trophy will be changed again. There's a brand new one, an exact replica of the present one, in a bank vault in London, being kept by the FA because, frankly, the old tin pot, as it's called, has taken a fair amount of battering in recent years. It's been on display, it's been exhibited, it's been repaired every year, and very shortly, perhaps, we shall have a brand new FA Cup trophy in use, but not today. So Spurs fans wearing a lot of yellow today because the colour change means their team will be foregoing their normal white shirts. So yellow is the Tottenham colour this afternoon, and yellow ribbons, one presumes, will be on the FA Cup if Tottenham win it. Spurs fans who've seen them chase 4 trophies this season and are hoping that they can at least win one. It's Tottenham's centenary year, by the way. They were formed in 1882, and quite significant that both clubs this year are celebrating their centenary. Because as well as Tottenham, at that end of the ground, that's the tunnel end, by the way, where the Spurs fans are. If we were to manage to switch to the west end of the stadium, which in itself is appropriate, because after all, Queen's Park Rangers ground is only a few miles from here in West London. Queen's Park Rangers are also celebrating their official centenary. And in this year, they've reached an FA Cup final for the first time. The club turned professional in 1898, and their first opponents in a Southern League match the following year were Tottenham Hotspur. Not sure whether it's an omen, but Spurs won the match 1-0 that day. Queen's Park Rangers, whose fans saw the club grow up very much in the 1960s. Earlier on, they were merely another third division team. But Jim Gregory, the chairman, built a new ground, and the club made progress into the first division. And now, although they're back in the second division, they've had a great year, putting down their new synthetic pitch and reaching the FA Cup final. It's been a great year for QPR. Their reserves have won the football combination, their youth team have won the South East Counties League, and their supporters and officials enjoying this day, as indeed the staff of all clubs, especially clubs from outside the first division, tend to do. Prime Minister's husband is in the royal box, and Sir Stanley Rouse, sitting next to Mr. Thatcher, is the president of Queen's Park Rangers. Sir Stanley, now 87 years of age, a wonderful football character, formerly the president of FIFA, and a cup final referee in the past, and a steward here way back in 1923 when he was trodden on in the rush in that memorable first Wembley final between Bolton and West Ham, when the gates were broken down and an estimated 200,000 people got inside. So Stanley that day was a steward, and he's here again in 1982. Let's now enjoy the atmosphere. These pictures being watched today in 56 countries across the world. And it's also important to mention that this BBC coverage will be relayed by cassette to our troops in the South Atlantic so that they will be able to see the FA Cup Final. It's a Cockney Cup Final, and it means the FA Cup will be won by a London club for the 4th consecutive year.
The traditional Cup Final hymn, Abide With Me, the words of which are on page 3 of your programme. Ladies and gentlemen, abide with me.
Must be many years since the Cup Final hymn was sung with so much respect and so much emotion. So many thoughts are directed to what is happening so many thousands of miles away. And the two teams are on their way. Moment of stillness inside the stadium while the players are still hidden from the view of the crowd. But they're on their way up that tunnel now. Queen's Park Rangers on the left as we look, Tottenham Hotspur on the right. Her Royal Highness Princess Anne being welcomed by Bert Millerchip, the chairman of the FA. Conversation between the two managers as the vast crowd inside the stadium welcome the teams. Terry Venables on the far side, a director of the club as well as manager, always a buoyant character. And Keith Birkinshaw on the near side, who has now been to Wembley with his club 5 times in the space of 12 months. What a record. So the two teams lining up for the presentation. And they will be presented after the national anthem to Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. Lionel Smart, the FA Challenge Cup Committee chairman, on the left as we look. Ted Croker, the secretary of the FA, just organising things behind there. So in his first year as chairman of the Football Association, Bert Millerchip takes Her Royal Highness across to Glenn Roeder, the captain of Queen's Park Rangers, who introduces his team. Always a poignant moment for players who are here for the first time, and that applies as far as cup finals are concerned to the entire Queen's Park Rangers side. Having quite a chat first with John Gregory, then with Terry Fennick, Gary Woddick, the red-haired player there, quite unmistakable. Clive Ellen, who is family now, some 30 people, I gather. Friends and relations are gathered up in the stand. Bob Hazel with a smile on his face. Tony Curry. The Queen's Park Rangers substitute Gary Micklewhite. Ian Gillard in his last game for the club. And Terry Venables, the manager who played for Spurs, ironically, in the 1967 final here. Another Cockney Cup final against Chelsea. And the Queen's Park Rangers supporters, a club who for league matches this season have average crowds at Loftus Road of only around 12,000. So across to meet Tottenham Hotspur. And Steve Perryman, who was so worried about missing this match and was only past fit this morning. Hoping to become the first captain to receive the cup 2 years running since Danny Blanchflower did so for Spurs 20 years ago, and he introduces Ray Clements. in neutral colours. Chris Houghton, who's always got a lot to say whenever the company. Glenn Hoddle there. Garth Crooks. Paul Price with the curly hair, who's the captain of Wales, but may not have played today, wouldn't have played today, had Ricky Villiers not been pulled out of the team this morning. Paul was expecting to be the substitute. Keith Birkinshaw, who's agreed in principle a new contract with Tottenham, although he assures me it's not been signed yet. Captain Mark Phillips has come down the line as well to meet the players. It seems to me that Her Royal Highness Princess Anne has spent rather more time in conversation with the players than royal guests in previous years. Clearly enjoying the occasion. She will now be escorted to her seat in the royal box. And the roar as the teams break. So let's check again on the lineup. The Queen's Park Rangers team includes 8 London-born players in this Cockney final. Only Ian Gillard and Tony Curry have played senior football at Wembley. That was for England, although Clive Ellen was here as a schoolboy, and Peter Hucker has been on the pitch as a junior. The top scorer is Simon Stainrod, number 10, but he could have a special role today. In the end, Tottenham field 8 of last year's cup-winning side. Ray Clements is in goal for Emilia Alexic, and the absence of the 2 Argentines means places for Mick Hazard and Paul Price, with Graham Roberts pushing into midfield. Number 6, Steve Perryman, and number 9, Tony Galvin, not 100% fit perhaps, but hoping after intensive treatment to get through the FA Cup Final. And what a family occasion for Clive Ellen, whose father played here in 2 finals, 1 for each club. Clive, who scored the winner in the semi-final for Queen's Park Rangers. And up in the stand, he's being watched by a whole colony of Allens. Some 30 people there associated with the Allen family, all with seats in the 2 or 3 front rows. I think as far as the Tottenham team are concerned, Graham Roberts may have the most relatives here today. He told me he was expecting about 25 people from the south of England. And talking of the midfield, one always looks to Glenn Hoddle to have the major influence in that area where Tottenham are concerned, although I do know Queen's Park Rangers pre-match planning has featured ways and means of stopping the Tottenham number 10. 2 captains now in the centre circle with Clive White, the referee, and his 3 assistants. I say 3 because his 2 linesmen are Alex Hamill of Wolverhampton with the red flag, Terry Mitchell of Bath with the yellow, and a reserve official, Ray Guy of Liverpool, who's on hand should anything go wrong. And he makes himself useful anyway here. Tony Curry, the man whose long passing game is the Rangers' answer, or could be, to Glenn Hoddle. Tony, who's been worried by an Achilles injury recently, but he seemed in good form when he spoke to Bob Wilson on the pitch. And his confidence was picked up by our panel. Great contrast between the goalkeepers. Ray Clements in his 8th Wembley final and his 37th appearance at the stadium in all. He's the oldest player in the match at 33. And he wishes all the best to his opposite number, 22-year-old Peter Hucker, in his first season as the Rangers goalkeeper. Graham Roberts, who thought he would be playing in the back four, but finds himself in the engine room in midfield.